Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your service. I will be your camp counsellor for the duration. So do us a favour, watch my back, because there could be somebody out there who doesn't like us because we're spending all our time making love. Well, that poor kid was drowning. Young Jason. My special boy, Jason. Right. Cheers, you all. So, got another mask to show you. Now this mask, it's quite a good one. I'm quite impressed with this one. Which is something I don't often say about the people that have made this mask. If you've kept up with my current mask videos, you'll know that I've had a bit of a resurgence of liking Rubies. Yes, Rubies masks. I started off hating them, then I got stuff that thought, not too bad. Now I kind of like, well, that's not so bad after all. Now I'm actively quite happy to get a Rubies mask. And this one is a great one. Here we go. What is it, Kilt-Man? What's the mask, you say? Oh, you're not asking that because I wrote it in the video title, didn't I? Duh. It's the sack mask from the 2007 remake of Friday the 13th. Yes, the one from Platinum Dunes. Platinum Dunes with Michael Bay, who began to remake fucking everything, every franchise going. They dipped their toes into it and mangled it usually. And for this one, they brought in Marcus Nispel to direct it. Thinks he's so cool, doesn't he, that Marcus Nispel? Fucked up pretty much everything he's made. I didn't mind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake to a degree, but Conan the Barbarian, get the fuck out of town. Marcus. Anyway, here we go. Now, in the first part of the movie, before he gets his hockey mask, which is the iconic moment, and it's quite a good moment too, but I'll come on to that because I'll discuss the film a little bit throughout this review. But the first part, he's wearing the sackcloth mask, which is a throwback to, you're hearing it now, this is the soundtrack, Henry Manfredini's soundtrack to, I always call him Henry, it's Harry Manfredini, isn't it? Harry Manfredini, to Friday the 13th Part 2, where Jason actually is a fully grown man, because he wasn't in the first movie, he was just a little bambino with a big head and a bulbous eye, that pulls the final girl out of the raft at the end of the movie. But then he grows up and becomes a big hulking brute with long hillbilly redneck hair. Still got a big bulbous eye and googly face and all that, but he wears a sackcloth mask throughout that movie. And I like that one. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of the ongoing Friday the 13th series because it just lacks thrills, scares, and it's never as gory as it's supposed to be. But, the first three movies I think are great. And, Jason X, everyone hates it. I have a love-hate thing with that because I like the fact that it went completely out there, and I mean literally out there into space. It just did something completely different. Although, trod the same sort of balls throughout the rest of the movie, it just kills everyone in sight. But the remake, Marcus Nispel and Derek Mears plays Jason this time round. Derek Mears, who is not as big as Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder is perhaps everyone's favourite, Jason Vorhees. He is a big hulking brute of a man. But Derek Mears, he's still a big guy, but he's a bit more lithe, a bit leaner, and he moves faster. And he's allowed to run in this movie, which is a good thing because some of the earlier sequences where he literally does run after his victims is quite a jolt. He doesn't need to just lumber. He fucking goes for it But as I say, he wears this in the first segment, the first 5 victims, and then he will kill, this fucking ridiculous dude that's got his own, marijuana farm. This is what the whole film seems to be around. There's plots of marijuana growing out there, and cannabis and all this. Hey, I drink this stuff. I haven't got a clue about weed. But all these bozos seem to be thriving on it, all these teenage fucking knob shines who do my head in this, especially the swearing. It's so gratuitous, it's OTT, the sex is ridiculous, the racial stereotyping as well. Oh my god, because in this new group that you get after the first group get offed by this guy, the new group that turn up at this luxurious, countryside palatial bloody cabin. It's fucking amazing. You've got a token black dude and you've got an Asian dude, and loads of jokes are made at the expense of having them there. Not only is that really bad today with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, but that was bad back then. There was never a time when that was going to work. Fucking shite. Terrible writing, appalling. This movie had Supernatural, the TV show, was the big thing at the time, and Jared he's got a fucking big long weird name. He's in it, and he's one of the Winchester boys from Supernatural. And weirdly enough, at the same time as they were making the revamped, reblooded Friday the 13th, you had a remake of My Bloody Valentine, which I love. And the other guy, the other brother, Jensen Ackles, is it? He was in that. And I love the original My Bloody Valentine, full uncut. Make sure you see the full uncut one. And the remake in 3D is amazing. I genuinely love it. It's gratuitous, but it doesn't matter because it actually is entertaining. I thoroughly get a kick out of that, whereas I don't get a kick out of this remake. I just watched it before just to get the the lowdown on how accurate this is going to be, and it's a turd of a film. The gore isn't even that extreme. It's slickly shot, and you do hate all these knobheads who've turned up at Camp Crystal Lake, and so you want to see him die horribly, bloodily, and yeah, at least you do get that. But anyway. So the first segment is a throwback to Friday the 13th Part 2, the original one. He wears the sackcloth mask. Here it is, the burlap sack. Now, those of you who know the movie, the original Friday the 13th Part 2 and this remake, will notice straight away that, hang on a minute, what's that big glaring fuck up they've done there? Well, I'll tell you what it is in case you hadn't realised. It's got two fucking eyes for one thing. It shouldn't have that. It should have just the one. Because if you know Jason without the mask on, he's got one big fucking eye and another fucking messed up bloody thing. Doesn't really need two eye holes. So, but this, weirdly enough, when you see it advertised, you can't see that it's got this other eye hole there. So it turned up today and I thought, shit, it's got two eye holes. Anyway. You could always super glue that up. You could definitely, cinch that in there. I mean, it's clearly not as big, so I don't know. Maybe you could get away with it. Now, I've got bubble wrap in there, which is not giving it the best effect because you want just black there, don't you? For the time being. But this is a marvellously sculpted mask. Apart from that little error there, this is wonderful. I mean, it genuinely looks like it's cloth. It's a potato sack wrapped around this fucking lunatic's head. You've got the rope tying it round here, the cord. It's pulled over. It's got a stylish look to it. It is cinched across like that, and tied up here and tightened. It's got that look to it, and it's a full deluxe mask. There is no split up the back there. But it's big enough, you can get your head in there, no problem at all. And you've got, because it is quite a covering there, you have a little tiny little gap there, two little gaps there so you can breathe, barely. And I had heard tell that there was a hole on this side here so you could hear. Well, if by hole they mean, I don't know if you can see, that little dot there. Is that it? Is that it? Although it does look as though there may have been like a slash there which has been filled in and covered up. This could be a later version. I don't know. I'm just surmising there. But there ain't much of a hole there. But if you're going to wear that, you know, it's very, very effective. You just need a bit of a dusty old jacket on there, just greased up bloody, you know, overalls and a shirt and work pants, mountain boots, and you know, and you're away. Weapon of choice, you could use a big meat cleaver, you could use a machete, you could use whatever the hell you want. Because in that sequence, he does a fair bit of nasty stuff. He gets a girl out of a tent, and inside a sleeping bag, he's hauled her up from a tree branch, and she's over a fire. She's slowly cooking there. Another guy's in a man trap. Another guy's had his ear lopped off and his throat slashed, and oh, it's yeah. And in the sequence where he confronts this, you know, cannabis farmer who runs like a garage as well, like, and he's just this big stoner redneck jerk off. And he is a complete, he just wanted to fucking exit stage left. And when he encounters him, you know, he looms up behind him, slits his throat in the final full uncut, you know, killer cut as it's called. And then as his body sinks to the ground, he finds the hockey mask in all the debris and detritus of this guy's fucking ridiculous garage. And but in the original version of this movie, the remake, it's far better, and yet the makers thought, oh, it doesn't work. And it was going to be, this guy would be sitting there wearing a hockey mask, looking at porno mags and jerking off, and like, he would come down the stairs having got a couple of cans of kerosene, which he's been, you know, systematically nicking, you know, from this place, and he'd confront this guy, put his hand on his head, top of his head like that, and decapitate him, and then hold up the head with the hockey mask on, and because he kind of likes, well, that could work for me, that, and then takes the mask off and puts it on himself, removing all this shit, and that would be a better scene, and yet they think it worked better the way that we see it now, and it just is so lackluster, lacks all the impact that it could have had for what, you know, fans would hail as an iconic moment. And fans, by the way, don't really, you know, appreciate that remake. It's slicker, you know, the effects are a bit more polished, but, you know, and it gives a bit more of kind of, well, they say a bit more grounding in reality. Did I just say that about a Friday the 13th movie? In the, you know how Jason always seems to like teleport himself wherever a victim's just run, you know, 15 fucking miles through the woods, leans against a tree, and he was only walking and he was miles behind, and like all of a sudden he's right there. How the fuck did he get there? Well, in this movie they try to posit the idea that he has this vast subterranean network of tunnels, a bit like Rambo in Last Blood, but it's meant to be some old mine shaft or something, and he can pop up anywhere. Well, okay, you know, that's not a bad addition to it, but considering that he was just a kid when he saw his mother beheaded, picked up her head, vamoosed back to the old Camp Crystal Lake, shacked up in one of the cabins there, made a shrine to his oft mother, and then grew up living off the land and became this big hulking brute. It doesn't make any sense. It's just an urban legend, you know, that's all that matters. And you know, you don't need to analyse these things, and maybe the mistake of this remake was to try to analyse it a bit too much and to create this big, elaborate, you know, sort of like reasons why he can do these things, how he can appear here, there and everywhere, how he can get that big because he's, you know, he's learned, he can live in the wild. Maybe people should just leave him alone, don't disturb him, as some silly old crone says to Jared Padalecki, that guy from Supernatural, who's out looking for his sister because his sister's the only one that survived that initial rampage in the opening 25 minutes of the movie. And after that 25 minutes, only then does the title come up, Friday the 13th. Anyway, back to the mask. Made by Rubies, as I've said. You have the rope going around here. You have absolutely amazing sculpting and detail on this. This really is immaculately done. I've got to praise it. I've got to praise it. Because it looks dirty, it looks dusty, it looks like a burlap sack. It looks exactly like that. And the way it's pulled around, the way it's tightened, the way it all... I mean, I love this sort of sideways, diagonal slant that it's got going across the nose there. It gives it, a bit of identity. It does look strange, but it's really, really well sculpted. So many details, so many contours, and texture is amazing. I love this little cord that runs around it. It's the amount of effort that's gone into sculpting that, and yet in reality, all that Jason would have done is just got a bit of there's a bit of a sack. I'll cut a hole in that for my eye. Oh, that's about right, and then just tied it round. But they take so long to try to sculpt that and make it look authentic. But they've done a good job. You see from that angle there, it kind of looks a bit like you could do a bit of a mummy effect on it, couldn't you? You could be Caris, the mummy awoken from his tomb to stomp those desecrators. And in a way, is that not what Jason's like? He's stomping and destroying anyone who desecrates, the sacred land of Camp Crystal Lake. That's what he's doing. But that is a tremendously well designed and sculpted mask. For those who want to see it, there is the tag, Friday the 13th. Funny enough, they don't call it on the back there. There's always a little sticker on saying what the mask is. They don't call it the sack mask, they just call it Jason Latex Mask. I do believe that there is, Rubies did do a mask of the hockey mask from that movie, which I don't think has the big axe dent in it, which you got from Friday the 13th Part 3, which is the famous, that's the way the mask should look. I've got a great version of that mask, which I should have brought down, but hey, I didn't. But the one thing I don't like really on the back of this, and it's got quite, we are going deluxe and beyond here. There's a fair bit of coverage, but you've got, and it's one of my pet hates. I understand why they do it, but I still hate it. One of these great big logos sculpted in there, and this one, it actually says Friday the 13th. New Line Productions Incorporated. It's got a few numbers on it. 100% latex, made in Mexico. Why can't that be on the inside? I mean, you're making an authentic, screen accurate mask. Well, he doesn't run around with a fucking big logo on the back of his neck, does he? So, why can't you put that on the inside? Just one of my pet peeves. What's that you say? Shut up and put the fucking mask on. Oh! Okay. Now, this is a large mask. It is. And as I keep on saying, that masks on me tend to be a bit large, because even though this looks like a huge big head, it's actually quite a small bit of a pinhead, really. It's a fat face, but a pinhead. And so masks tend to, they're huge. They're like tents and marquees. But this one genuinely is a big mask. And yet, well, we'll see, shall we? Yeah. It's huge. See, I mean, okay, that eye hole is a lot smaller. It is. It's very small compared to this big thing, but so you could put some gauze on that and cover that up, or as I said before, you could seal it over a little bit more, leaving a bit of a gap maybe, but the effect is this. You get the one eye staring out, and look, I've got friendly eyes. They're piss holes in the snow, to be honest, but look at that. I'm scared of myself. Wow, fucking madman's eye. Ah. But yeah, look at all this. Acres of coverage. In fact, I could probably even get my whiskey underneath the mask. that is a really good mask. You know, I can't deny that I'm very, very impressed with this. Now, I'm going to be slightly a bit more honest here. Slightly. In that, when you see this mask advertised, it looks very sort of silvery and metallic. It's got like a kind of grey sheen to it. And when you get it, it's a lot whiter. It's lighter than you expect it to be, which is what it would be. And having just watched the film, that is how it looks. It's that off-white, you know, sort of, you know, half khaki sort of, you know, burlap sack look. But what I didn't like about it was this cord was exactly the same colour, so it didn't stand out. So what I've done, as you can probably no doubt see, only subtly, I've gone over this. I've shaded the cord in and given a bit more depth to some of these layers here, this big wrap around here. But I've shaded, I should say, the cord going all the way around, just to make it stand out a little bit more, because beforehand it didn't. It was exactly the same shade and tone of the rest of the mask. So I just think it gives it a bit more impact, also a bit more variety, you know, and it just makes it stand out a little bit more shading perhaps. Don't have to do that, of course. You know, it does look great as it is, but I just thought, I want that to be a little bit more apparent. But I think it's great. You know, there's something about that look, you know, the sackcloth look. You've got the great, strong for TV, but it was a TV movie nonetheless, Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, where the poor, you know, retarded farm labourer gets picked on by bullies and ends up getting murdered. But he's hidden in the Scarecrow, and then he gets his revenge when he comes back from the grave in the Scarecrow costume, and he wears a mask very similar to that. And you've got, see, look at that there. It looks almost like some kind of ninja. If this was black, that would be a ninja sort of hood. The way it's pulled around, but you really get that effect, don't you? You know that it is pieces which have been tied around and tightened. You get that. That's really effective, I think. As I say, I just wish that was, if it's got to be there, that it was smaller. But as I say, you could easily put some black gauze inside there, or just maybe even super glue some of the periphery together to make it smaller. But it's probably there because of safety reasons, you know. Although Derek May seems to get around with just the one eye sticking out. And as I say, he's reasonably good in the role because he runs, he goes full pelt after people. He's very acrobatic and dexterous, super strong, and they go out the way to show him using a bit of cunning. That he'll use a victim who's still alive, writhing in agony, outside to try and lure people out. He will lure people into traps and stuff like. So he's a bit more, definitely more of a Rambo-esque character with his skills and his penchant for carnage. But Rubies has done a pretty good job there. Kind of looks a bit. You want it to be a bit more like this. There you go. Get that. Where's it gone? Get that hole covered up a bit more. But let's put it on again. I quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed the way the eyeball becomes truly, truly maniacal. I mean, look at it. Hey, I love everyone. Wait. I'll kill you all. I mean, you're still getting the effect. You are still getting the effect, but that really should be tightened up a bit narrower. The fact that it retains a bit more shadow does darken the fact that there's another eye sticking out there. But, you know, look at all this. You get the costume on. Very effective. Obviously, you know, if you wanted to not rattle round on your bonce, you put a few sponges in there, stick them in there, it just affixes it to your skull a bit better. But I don't know about you guys, I actually find that more frightening than the hockey mask. As iconic, as immortal as that mask is, I just find that a more threatening, intimidating look. Incidentally, Derek Mears, who plays him in this, would face off against Kane Hodder in the film Hatchet. Is it Hatchet 3? And the weird thing is, because Kane Hodder was playing Victor Crowley, who is the big deformed redneck woodsman monster psycho, and they're great movies. They're so unbelievably OTT. I mean, these are unrated. The gore in these are what you wanted from Friday the 13th, but never ever got. But yeah, it's Hatchet 3 where the two of them will meet, and you can see just how big Kane Hodder is. But there, and the weird thing is, I said before, the weird thing is the makeup for Victor Crowley wants the mask. He doesn't wear a mask, does he? He's just a big hulking, horrible-faced brute. But his face with the straggly hair, crazy eye, and he wears it he's got a big hulking muscle suit on. But his face looks like the way that Derek Mears looks without this mask on, or the hockey mask. Bit of symmetry there. Related? Well, all rednecks are related, aren't they, anyway? But it's funny how, Derek Mears, because he was a bit slimmer, they could put a much slimmer latex suit upon him, which, if you saw his flesh moving, it's only a thin layer of latex, full body, but a thin layer, so you could see it moving. Each muscle that he moved, it would move too in correspondence. Whereas Kane Hodder just is a big guy anyway. Folks, Rubies, sackcloth mask for Jason from Friday the 13th, the 2007 remake from Marcus Nispel. Yeah, it's, at least pretty much everyone dies. There is some gore. It looks great. Score from Steve Jablonsky is a pile of shite. It does nothing. It hasn't got any of the usual, shrill, or is it? What is it now? That's the one, isn't it? Because the idea behind it was, even though it sounds like it's actually meant to be Jason's fractured memory of his mother's voice saying to him, kill, ma. Anyway, I digress. But look at that. That is really amazingly well done. Beautiful. So, folks, there you go. Whistle Stop tour of Ruby's mask and a little Friday the 13th trivia and opinion. So, folks, be careful out there next time you go camping. Post lookouts and sentries and tripwires, booby traps. Not that it'll do you any good, because this fucker seems to live through everything, so he'll come after you regardless. And this one runs as well. Folks, take it easy. In the meantime and in between time, keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all